Hrishikesh asks me on Quora, does it make sense to trademark my blog name? I'm Andrei Mincov, the founder of Trademark Factory, and here's my answer to this question. Really, this depends on what you're trying to build with your blog. It doesn't matter how big it is today. The real question is, in the ideal world, if you were to build this blog into what you're hoping to build it into, will the name of the blog be valuable enough for you to care not to lose it? And if the answer is yes, then probably it's a good idea. And if you feel that, the name of the blog is that much of a valuable asset, maybe you don't. So ask yourself a question. What is the ideal scenario for this blog? Is it something that you're going to focus on? Is it going to be your primary source of revenue? Is it going to be your primary source of people's attention to you and your business? If that's the case, probably it is a good idea as long as the name itself is distinctive enough to qualify as a trademark. And if it's just, something you kind of do as a hobby, and you write a blog post here and there, and you just want people to kind of remember your blog, and maybe you have a domain name, then really don't bother. Trademarks are not designed to protect your hobbies. Trademarks are designed to help business owners and entrepreneurs protect their brands from being copied by the competition. So as long as your vision is big enough, maybe it is a good idea. If not so much, then don't. Nick Mullen asks me on Quora, what happens if two companies trademark a name at the same time? Well, that's a great question. Now, I'm assuming you refer to filing a trademark application at the same time. They both file a trademark application at the same time. Well, it never happens at the same time. It could be a millisecond difference, but when you file your trademark application, they get assigned a serial number, an application number, and they all come in sequential numbers. So whoever files first gets their application number a little lower, right? So if it's a millisecond, they're probably going to be just consecutive numbers, and whoever's got a lower number will have priority. Now, in countries that recognize common law trademarks, unregistered trademarks like the US or Canada and some other countries, it's not only about who filed the application first, but who can prove use first. So if both trademarks in this hypothetical scenario are filed based on proposed use, then whoever files first wins. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they both start using it sometime in the future and the second applicant launches the product first. It doesn't matter. As long as by the time of the filing, neither of them had any use, it's whoever filed first wins. If one of them had use before the other one filed the application, then it's going to be a little bit tricky, because the only way for the applicant who used the brand before the other one applied for it can win would be through opposition proceedings, because the trademark examiners, they don't care about unregistered trademarks. They will approve the application for publication, and it will open up the opposition period when anybody can raise their hand and ask the trademarks office not to register that trademark. So if, let's say, company A has been using the brand for some time, but they waited for whatever reason until company B filed a trademark application for the same brand, and somehow company A also filed a trademark application, maybe on the same day, just maybe a few minutes later. Then company A wouldn't be able to do anything about company B's trademark application until company B's trademark application gets to the opposition stage, in which case they can oppose it and say, we have been using this brand long before company A decided to file their trademark, and we would ask you to not register it, and your opposition may succeed. So that's the situation when company A's got prior rights. The other way around this is, let's say, same scenario, but company B actually was also using the brand before they filed the application. Then, during the opposition period, they can try to convince the trademarks office which of them had prior right, how widely known they are, and all of that. The one other aspect to think about is, let's say company A had been using the brand very locally, and company B files a trademark application, and then company A files the application on the same day. They get to the opposition, maybe, and let's say company A doesn't win. Company A doesn't win, so the company B's trademark gets registered. Can company B go after company A and request that they stop using the brand? No, because company A may have prior rights, maybe it's too small of the area for the opposition board to recognize this as a prior right. But what's going to happen is, if company B decides to go after company A, it will usually be found that company A can continue doing what they had been doing as long as they don't expand to new geographical areas and to new areas of products and services. So you see, there's a lot of different angles that you can look at to answer what seems to be a pretty simple question. Rebecca asks me on Quora, would a company's logo affect your decision to spend money on their products? Well, a logo is more than just an image. It's something that creates that mental association between the product or the service and whoever is offering the product or the service, right? It's rarely about artistic benefits of the image in how we perceive logos. It's more about, what does it tell me? What's the message that it's trying to convey? Is it giving me the confidence that the product that I'm about to spend money on is the product that I'm going to be happy with? So from this perspective, yeah, absolutely. A lot of decisions are driven by logos. The cars we buy, the phones we buy, when we show off, all of that to the world, it's done partially through the logos. But if you were to ask me, well, did I make a purchase of one product over the other because a logo of one of them looked nicer? I don't know. Maybe unconsciously, yes. But again, it's not just about the imagery. It's about what stands behind the imagery that's important with logos, brands, and trademarks. Somebody with a nickname Legendary Legend asks me on YouTube in a comment, I'm thinking about writing an ebook, and I have a few things I would want to trademark. Is it possible to trademark a fictional device? Well, there's a big difference between a fictional device, something that you know will never, ever, 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 ever work, and it's just a figment of somebody's imagination, and it will never become a product or a service ever offered to the market, compared to, well, this product doesn't exist yet, but we're working on it and we might launch it sometime soon. There's a big difference between that. In theory, when you file your trademark application, you have to have a genuine intention to use it to mark a product or a service that you're going to be offering to the world. And if you don't have that genuine intention, your trademark may actually be denied or canceled. Because again, the point of trademarks is not to let you hoard good names or good logos or good taglines. It's about giving you the opportunity to help the marketplace tell your products and services apart from identical or similar products and services of everyone else. And if we're talking about just fictional things, then it doesn't really serve that purpose, because there are no potential customers to those things that are just fictional devices, right? So in most cases, the answer to that would be no. Sometimes, if you're really well known, might get away with that, might be able to trademark. Also, the other idea is that in most countries, use is not a requirement to registration. You don't have to prove that your thing works. You don't have to prove that your time machine or whatever other fictional device that you came up with actually works. You'd still need to place this product into one of the 34 classes of goods and services for trademarks. And that might pose the challenge. But assuming you come up with some idea which class it will be registered in, assuming you get your registration, it would still be vulnerable to potential cancellation proceedings if you can't show that you've been marking your product with that brand that you trademarked for a certain period of time. In most countries, it's 3 years. So if you haven't been using your brand for 3 years to market on the products that you trademarked it for, then your trademark registration will be prone to being canceled. So, if it's a fictional device, probably you'll never put your brand on it, and so there's a risk of that happening. Now, I hope this answers your question. If it does, post and comment below. If it doesn't, again, post and comment below. If you have a follow-up question, I'll try to answer it. And if you have a question other than this, something completely different, but as long as it's about branding and trademarks, post in a comment below, and I'll do my best to shoot a video responding to your question. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.